kamikaze drone for vehicles. Biden admin weighing in on providing Ukraine with killer drone called Switchblades. The U.S.-made guide missiles can accurately target tanks and artillery from miles away. Also known as a kamikaze drone. Suicide drone, then isn't it just a missile? Kind of stupid. Yeah, I don't really understand.
Amid the quiet beauty of the Utah desert, a deadly new kind of weapon on display. NBC News got an exclusive look at a so-called killer drone. Yeah, it doesn't fire a missile, it is the missile.
This is about the size of a toy drone I bought.
Bro, look at this. I mean, dude, we love weapons, dude. We love our weapons, don't we, folks? Every day, Murat's statements about how like we make the Lamborghini of drones just becomes more true.
I bought my 12-year-old a few years.
How is a no-fly zone the same as boots on the ground warfare? I genuinely don't understand. Okay, I'm assuming charitability here, so I'm just gonna repeat this thing again. Okay.
PhDs.
How do you think planes fly? Where do you think planes fly from? And what do you think planes are? A no-fly zone needs to be enforced. And it's enforced with missile systems. It's enforced with fighter jets. The enforcement of a no-fly zone implies that American fighter pilots flying American fighter jets are going to shoot down Russian fighter pilots and Russian fighter jets. It's exactly the same as boots on the ground military warfare. It's conventional war between two nuclear powers. The only difference is that it's just not directly on the ground. Why the fuck is Zelensky calling for it then? Because he's desperate.
5 months, baby.
Dude, you're dying. If you're dying, you don't give a fuck if like the rest of the world joins your fight and it's a nuclear holocaust. You're dying anyway. It's already functionally nuclear holocaust for you. That's how he thinks. That's why they ask for it. But the fact that like the American media are pushing for it is psychotic. Nihilist Andy.
Years ago.
The Switchblade can be carried into battle in a backpack and launched miles away from a threat.
Once a target is identified, the Switchblade can find it and kill it in minutes.
Launching. AeroVironment, the drone's manufacturer, showed us how an operator
starting our turn.
Can put a Switchblade through the window of a truck. Onboard cameras capture the moment before impact.
How far away was the Switchblade when it took that picture?
About 3 meters from the target.
At about $6,000 each, the Switchblade costs a fraction of the $150,000 Hellfire missiles fired from larger military drones. The Pentagon has made deadly mistakes using drones, including in August.
Yeah, remember? Yeah, except, dude, the precision of the drone in this circumstance would not change anything. It didn't kill so many people because it was a Hellfire missile. It killed people because the intelligence was wrong and they didn't care enough to fucking check it. So it doesn't matter if your missiles are more precise when you are literally just saying, well, he's brown, fuck it, YOLO, kill him. That doesn't change anything. It's just cheaper. Okay, and I guess it limits the explosion in comparison to a Hellfire missile strike. But it's cheaper. That's it.
When the U.S. military fired at what it thought was an ISIS target, but instead killed 10 civilians, including 7 children. Officials told NBC News analysts saw a child in the target area, but the missile had already been launched. The Afghan-born CEO of AeroVironment says their weapon can cancel an attack up to 2 seconds before impact.
You can make decisions while you're flying the missile.
Yeah, they're definitely going to do that. It's just a smart missile. They're definitely going to cancel it, though, 2 seconds before. Oh, no, there's a kid there. Dude, how many kids have we fucking killed deliberately? What the fuck do you mean? Why would they ever do that? Dude, what? Yo, dude, what the fuck?
In the air as to what to do during your mission.
But the development of smaller, cheaper drones, already being used on the battlefield, pose new dangers for the U.S., too. Paul Shar, a retired U.S. Army Ranger, says weapons like these change the game.
It levels the playing field between the U.S. and terrorist groups or rebel groups in a way that's certainly not good for the United States.
Iranian-backed militias have used similar drones to attack American bases in Iraq and to target the Iraqi prime minister.
The U.S. is definitely vulnerable to drone attack today. We need better defenses, and we need them urgently for U.S. troops overseas.
A new kind of weapon presenting a new kind of risk, both abroad and at home.
Remember, it's good when we use them because we're using it against our enemies. But it's bad when our enemies use it against us because we're the good guys and they're the bad guys. Yeah, how about don't make this shit, okay? How about that? Well, too late. We already did. Okay?
Ken Delaney, NBC News, Dugway Proving Ground, Utah.
How does a level of playing field between one of the largest imperial powers and the fucking goat herders? They can get it and use it with ease. Biden admin is weighing in on providing Ukraine with the killer drones called Switchblades that we just saw. Take a look.
The Biden administration is considering whether to send new killer drones to Ukraine. They're called Switchblades. NBC News national security correspondent Ken Delaney is joining us from Washington now. Ken, tell us about these Switchblades. How do they work?
Well, Aaron, they're called killer or kamikaze drones because the explosive is inside the device, and they're a single-use weapon. Essentially, they fly to the target, strike it, explode, and kill it. Why they are game-changing and transformational is that they are incredibly small and portable. The one that we got a demonstration of in the Utah desert last year, called the Switchblade 300, which is designed to kill personnel, weighed 5 pounds. It was the size of a toy, and it's launched from a tube. There's a bigger one called the Switchblade 600 that we were not allowed to see, which can take out armored vehicles and tanks, and that would probably be more useful for the Ukrainians. It's also, though, very portable, but it can fly up to 50 miles. So the Ukrainians can be very far from the thing they're trying to hit, unlike the javelins, which they have to get up pretty close, about a mile away. And these things can loiter over the target. They have cameras inside. They have sensors.
6,000 is an interesting number. 6,000 for one drone. 6,000 is also the number that the dollar amount that the Obama administration paid each of the victims of the Kunduz hospital bombing that they engaged in. Fun fact for you guys on a Wednesday morning.
They can be guided onto a target, and they can be programmed to strike a target with GPS. So they're very sophisticated, very cutting-edge weapons, Aaron.
Wow. Ken, assuming that President Biden and NATO don't call for a no-fly zone over Ukraine,
I gotta pee.
How big of an impact could these have in the Ukrainians' defensive effort?
The experts I'm talking to think it could really be a game changer, depending on how many of these weapons we can get in Ukrainian hands, and also depending on how quickly it takes to train them to use them. This is a pretty secretive weapon. It's been used in combat in Afghanistan, but the U.S. doesn't discuss that at all. So if they are used in the Ukrainian theater, this could be a historic moment for warfare, and it could really do a lot of damage. Remember that long convoy of Russian vehicles we saw? That would have been totally exposed to these weapons if the Ukrainians had had them at the time, and there are still many opportunities for the Ukrainians to use them. It's not a magic solution to anything. The Ukrainians are facing overwhelming might, but they could do a lot of damage to Russian armor with these weapons, Aaron.
So bottom line here, Ken, what's the likelihood that the U.S. will actually send these drones to Ukraine?
We're hearing from our sources that it seems rather likely. The question is whether they will disclose that or whether they'll just do it secretly, covertly, because there is a question of escalation here. It's the real question that American officials are grappling with is how much stuff can they give the Ukrainians to help kill Russians before Vladimir Putin views that as an unacceptable escalation. So far, what we're talking about here are defensive weapons, and these can be considered defensive weapons. And so that's how the Biden administration will justify it. Whether they'll say it explicitly, though, is another question, Aaron.
All right, Ken Delaney in Washington. Ken, thank you. We're following some breaking news now from the Department of Justice. NBC News has learned that the DOJ is set to unveil charges against Chinese agents.
That's right. They're accused of intimidating critics of China right here in the U.S. NBC News Justice correspondent Pete Williams joins us now. Pete, really, what more do we know here?
Well, according to court documents and law enforcement officials, we know of at least 2 of the targets of what are apparently 3 efforts by agents of the Chinese government in the U.S. to intimidate people here who've been critical of the regime. One of the targets was Arthur Liu, who is a lawyer and political activist in the San Francisco Bay Area, and the father of Olympic figure skater Elisa Liu. The other...
Sorry. I had to go use the bathroom upstairs. Bro, while you were gone, they should have said either they'll send them publicly or secretly, but they're definitely sending them. Should have telling Russians what's up. I mean, yeah. Let's go. YOLO, baby. You have more than one bathroom? Like, yeah, of course I have more than one bathroom. I know I said this the other day, but the media really are acting like the military industrial complex salesman at this point. Yes.